Hafide Guam, welcome to another episode of ReelTalk, where we talk everything about your favorite films. And also, we are giving away 2 tickets to Avengers Endgame, which comes out in April.
So 2 tickets to Avengers 4?
Is it 4? Or 5?
There's some misconception
4.
about this. Everybody's saying it's Avengers 4. Technically, if you are going by the Avengers movies, this would be Avengers 3, right?
I don't know.
4 or 5, because you had
5, right?
You had Avengers, Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
Civil War was the Captain America movie. That's where everybody gets it wrong. And then
okay, so this is Avengers 4.
And then Infinity Game and then Endgame.
Infinity War and then Endgame. Yeah, okay. So if you want to win the tickets, here is the way to win it. We are going to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, and the theory is that any person in Hollywood is somehow related to Kevin Bacon through at max 6 steps, right? Or at least 6 steps.
This is graph theory.
So, for instance, if you chose Denzel Washington,
Corey Feldman.
Yeah, or like Corey Feldman.
They were both in Friday the 13th.
Yeah, so that would be one link, but the objective is to find the link between one person and Kevin Bacon within six steps at least, or at the most. So the person that you at home have to find a link to is Lupita Nyong'o. So her and Kevin Bacon, right? So you have to kind of relate the two of them within 6 steps.
I can pull this off already.
So, okay, don't tell the answer. And we'll pick a random winner, right? And we'll be doing this for the entire month. So we'll be giving away between 10 to 12 pairs of tickets to the Avengers Endgame finale. And Avengers Endgame is going to be a pretty exciting event,
and this is going to be at the local premiere. So technically, you're going to be one of the first people,
in the world to see it.
Not just in this hemisphere, in the world to actually check this movie out.
You'll be one of the first people to watch the film.
Okay, we have never done an episode, Ken, on Kevin Bacon. We probably damn well should, because his body of work is amazing. Well, you can say his body is amazing too, because he's been fully frontally nude and a bunch of stuff. If your opinion is of that mind, but that's again another episode. What is I want to ask what your favorite Kevin Bacon movie is, and I know what you're gonna.
I'm not saying Wild Things, dude. I'm not gonna say Wild
Well, he
Things.
was fully frontally nude in that one. That's for damn sure. And I did not see that coming.
I actually like a lot of Kevin Bacon movies.
But what you and I are gonna say is glorious, and in your own rating system, the way it works in your mind and heart, you say certain movies are glorious, and you and I have a tendency to agree.
Okay, are we saying 1, 2, 3? We're both gonna say the movie right now. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Mystic
Hollow
River.
Man. Oh, I guess not.
Oh my god. So
Hollow Man was glorious. Hollow Man was freaking great, and you and I have talked about this.
Hollow Man was pretty great.
Mystic River was great, but
Mystic River is greater.
But for Kevin Bacon,
I guess, man, Hollow Man. If you want like the pervy Kevin Bacon, yeah.
I love Hollow Man. That thing was trampled all over by the critics, man, when it first came out.
It was a pretty wild movie. Like,
crazy.
I just saw it recently. It still holds up.
Films and culture, the things that are acceptable. It's so funny because, nudity and profanity, we more widely accept in today's day and age. But there are certain practices and things that we kind of shun completely, right? And I can think of one scene in Hollow Man that was pretty wild.
Where he was feeling up the one scientist when she was asleep.
So we're not going to get into that anyway.
The messed up thing was he killed all of his friends.
Yeah, it was a messed up movie.
Friends, colleagues. Wait, was that Josh Brolin? Who was Elizabeth Shue's love interest?
I think it was.
Yeah.
Okay, we are going off topic here, guys.
Yeah.
We're
okay.
So back to what we're talking about. We're talking about Avengers Endgame, which comes out next month, and Marvel released a precursor movie to that. They just released a movie, Captain Marvel, which I got to watch over the weekend. I should watch it too, right? I thought it was pretty good. It's an origin story of Captain Marvel, for those of you at home who don't know where Captain Marvel came from, what her special powers are, or whatnot. This kind of covers all that basis, like a short, quick primer, just in time for Avengers Endgame, which, spoiler, she'll probably play a major role in that.
Captain Marvel, as a fan of Marvel Comics, was never my favorite superhero, because the whole cosmic thing, I never really got into that. I like the Earthbound heroes.
Me neither.
But she's swollen. Or is it just her suit, or is that CGI?
I think that's a suit, but She is very, very charismatic and attractive. I really think Brie Larson did a good job of portraying the character, and I really liked the movie, so I thought it was actually pretty good.
Okay. Well, since I did not watch Captain Marvel, I'd like to make a suggestion of my own before we get to today's topic. Apparently, I'm one of the few people left in the world who reads books, but if you love literature as I do, and you love movies, here's a book I want to recommend to you. I've got two. Making Movies by the late Sidney Lumet. He was a very, very famous filmmaker. He made Serpico. He made The Wiz. He made Network.
Serpico, yep.
Yeah, he made a whole bunch of movies. And Sidney actually talks in this book, like Matt Damon has even said, this book is the Bible if you want to be a filmmaker. He talks about everything from securing financing from a movie, working with unions when you have to do things like electronics or electrical and lighting and sound and things like that, all the way for screenplays and distribution and stuff like that. So if you want to know anything about how a movie is actually made, this is the book to get, and it's very, very good. More recently, the second book I want to recommend is The Big Picture by Ben Fritz. It basically talks about how the movie industry these days is basically kind of polarized right now, because you either have these indie films that have limited releases, or you have the big budget Marvel and DC superhero movies, and the entire mid-range of the movie industry has basically fallen out because Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime Video and everything, they've completely consumed that part. So unless you're Disney and you're making these $600 million movies, you're probably looking at straight to video. And it's a really interesting insight. I mean, you may not believe everything philosophically, but it's a really, really good read. It's a fast read. And I really recommend, if you love movies as we do, you pick these up, because you are not going to be disappointed. They're very good.
Cool. On that point, you can watch Captain Marvel at the Tango Theaters, showing now. And it's a big weekend this week. Couple movies come out, but one that I really want to see is Jordan Peele's new horror movie, Us.
Oh yeah,
right. Jordan Peele, the director, one half of the Key and Peele duo, the comic troupe, right? That's what you call.
Who do you think's funnier between Keegan-Michael Key or Jordan Peele?
I think Keegan-Michael Key is funnier. I think, but Jordan Peele is obviously very talented. He made Get Out. Made Get Out, and he's followed up that with the sophomore effort of Us, which is a story of a family of four who go to some town or whatever city, and they see doppelgangers of themselves that are trying to kill them, right? So that's all I know about the story. I guess you just walk into it kind of oblivious to what's going to happen and just let it play out. But it's got great reviews. It's
legitimately scary.
Really well. Yeah, people say it's legitimately scary. So,
and you don't scare easily, as we've learned on this show.
Well, I didn't even watch the movie, so I don't know. But I mean, it does seem like it's going to be interesting. I'm hoping to catch that this weekend. But finally, with that huge long introduction that we just took 7 minutes or whatever
8 minutes 20 seconds
to get through, now you're finally going to learn what this podcast is about today. And that podcast, since we're talking about Jordan Peele, is about the best movies from black directors, and we'll keep it kind of short, but I think we have a couple of interesting ones to talk about.
Oh yeah, African American directors, first of all, I have always appreciated the direction they take. Like a lot of them feel, because of their heritage, because of their lineage, and because of the culture, they feel like they have a responsibility to infuse into their work the telling of the struggle, of the oppression. Some people go about it in comedic ways. Other people are like Spike Lee is very, very literal. But it's some of the most amazing films we've ever had. I mean, movies that you and I both like Training Day by Antoine Fuqua. Incredible. Just the sense of art direction, the storytelling, it's amazing.
Training Day is on my list.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the first director to get an Academy Award, a black director, right? To get
for Best Picture? Or Best Direction?
No, I don't think he got Best Picture for it, but
Denzel
won Best.
Finally, Denzel
Best
won.
Actor for it, and he played a corrupt cop, senior level cop, right?
I'm here for Alonzo.
Alonzo, who takes a white rookie under his wing, played by Ethan Hawke, and that was a crazy movie. That was an awesome movie. I really like that.
That one scene when they are actually.
There's a couple scenes that are pretty.
What is your best scene? And it was because of Antoine Fuqua. They said he kind of like laid this all out, and he really wanted that. Visually, he wanted the grit and the grime, but also, it's like it's downtown LA, so you see the wonderful vistas of the blue skies and the densely populated neighborhoods, and but then you feel as if there's a certain this may not be the safest place.
I don't know what my favorite scene is in there, but I guess
it's got to be in the parking lot after the fight
with the girl.
No, when after Ethan Hawke and Denzel scrap and everything. And
no!
Jake, I need my money. And then he puts the gun down, picks up the pack of menthols, puts the badge back on, and I mean like that. And just you got.
That's a crazy scene, but that's not my favorite. My favorite scene is the bathroom scene, or when they're at the house and then the 3 Mexican guys are supposed to kill Ethan Hawke.
Oh,
that's my favorite scene.
With
I don't know the guy who plays like every ethnicity in movies. I forgot his name.
There's him. There's that guy, and then there's also
Chewie.
Then there's Chewie.
Yeah, I don't remember this.
Yeah, man.
I like that movie, man. That was a good movie. What else you got on your list?
Okay. I have always appreciated Robert Townsend as a storyteller. One of my favorite movies of all time, The 5 Heartbeats. I don't think Uncle Ken, would you call that a musical? Because I mean, it's a weird thing to say, and we've covered this on this podcast. But when we say you're doing a motion picture about a musical group, so there's songs in it, but then there are also there's parts when the cast they'll spontaneously burst into song. But the 5 Heartbeats, it's uplifting, it's inspiring, it's incredibly sad. It's got a really great ending. The soundtrack is phenomenal. Did you ever watch the 5 Heartbeats? You never watched the 5 Heartbeats when you were at Blockbuster?
No.
Nights like this, I wish that raindrops would fall. Oh man,
never watched
so
it.
good.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't even believe that's Robert Townsend's best film because they say Hollywood Shuffle might be his best film, which was kind of like a comic anthology. But The 5 Heartbeats was a triumph. I thought that was excellent. He told, again, he incorporated parts of racial prejudice, what it was like to be an African American in a major city like New York. And it's not a period piece, but you actually go through, the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and you see the lives of 4 main, essentially like doo-wop singers, and then things change, and one gets strung out on drugs, and other was his character name is Choir Boy, and he becomes like a stud because he starts messing around with girls, and man, that was such a good movie. Robert, you really got to watch that one because Robert Townsend did an amazing job, and he's in the movie too.
I'll check it out. I'll check out.
Yeah. Okay. Why don't we just get?
I am not saying. I'm just letting you say your piece. I mean, I'm sure it's.
No, I'm saying. Why don't we just address the elephant in the room now? Boys in the Hood. Let's just get it out there.
So the number 1 pick.
John
going
Singleton.
right after that. John Singleton. What, 91? When was that movie? Probably 1991. That was a great story. What's the main guy's name? Okay, Ricky is what's his name? Morris Chestnut.
Ricky is
right?
Morris Chestnut.
What was Cuba Gooding Jr.?
Trey.
Okay.
Is Cuba in his second film? Do you remember what Cuba Gooding?
Oh no, I don't remember.
Coming to America. He was the kid in the barbershop. He was getting his haircut.
Wow. Boys in the Hood. That is.
And then of course the screen debut
Ice Cube
of Ice Cube.
Lawrence Fishburne is the dad.
Oh man,
he was a dad, right?
Furious Styles.
Yeah, man, that was a great movie. I think that's the first movie where you kind of really get a look into that inner city type of life, right?
And if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see like every Father's Day I have a tendency to quote Lawrence Fishburne's line from that movie when he says, any fool with a dick can be a dad, or any fool with a dick can make a baby, but it takes a real man to raise his children. Great line. And I believe John Singleton wrote that himself.
I don't know. I guess.
And,
yeah,
okay, again,
it was awesome.
As a filmmaker, if you look at it today, the opening scene of that movie, I don't know if you remember this, but the opening shot, you hear the sounds of Compton, right? At that point, like in the early 90s, you hear gunfire, you hear police sirens and everything like that. And the camera zooms and then slows as it goes, but you go up to a stop sign and then goes stop. and they don't say anything. There's no narration or anything like that. It's just a visual metaphor, and it was very powerful at the time. It hasn't aged well, I think, because it's been copied so many times. It's almost cheesy.
No, man, I think,
but it was great,
awesome.
And then do you remember the end scene? It's not like symbolism or anything like that. Right at the end, after they say, Doughboy disappears because they fade him out of the scene, then it says at the end, increase the peace.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember that part. But that movie was good. I personally like Menace to Society more, but Boys in the Hood was awesome.
But Boys in the Hood kicked off that whole kind of like
and then we had all those other movies after
South
that.
Central and
Menace to Society was one. Juice?
Dude in South Central. Did you ever watch South Central? That was the movie about the two friends. They become gangbangers when they're kids. One guy grows up to be the boss of and another guy, and one guy goes to jail and he comes out and he goes, "Hey, I have a son who I've never met. I'm going to change my ways." And his son actually becomes a gangbanger for his friend, and he holds a gun to his dad's head at the end of the movie, and it's so powerful. And I forget who does South Central.
I don't remember.
Okay, while we're on the subject of John Singleton, though, do you like other John Singleton movies?
What is
Four Brothers?
On Mars?
Duh.
Is the Mars movie? John Singleton movie.
Which one?
Ice Cube when he's on Mars.
I don't know if that's a John Singleton movie.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, okay, I'll tell you what. I like Four Brothers.
Yeah,
that is awesome. John Singleton movie.
Many people probably don't like Four Brothers, but we really love it.
We're weird.
I'm one of the few people that actually likes Higher Learning.
I like Higher Learning.
Which some people think John Singleton kind of took a risk with that, but I thought it was neat because he brought back some of the people that he used in Boys in the Hood. It's about going to college, and it's not just this is, I hate when people like label things like, it's not a black movie, but it shows that there's, and everybody's in college.
Yeah, it's not a black movie.
Yeah, so you have these people who are studying and who have earned their way into a university by merit of their their athleticism, their academics, and everything like that. So it's a bunch of smart people. Lawrence Fishburne is also in the movie, and he plays a professor. And he's great in that again. Ice Cube is in that also, but he is actually a incredibly gifted philosophy student who they only reveal like towards the end of the movie. His name is Mr. White, which is interesting because he's very militant. He's almost like the Black Panther figure. Busta Rhymes is in that movie.
Yeah.
But you also get the innocent, almost like doughy-eyed Caucasian female types. Christy Swanson was there. Jennifer Connelly Jennifer Connelly actually goes through a confusion in her sexuality, and she experiments with lesbianism. Omar Epps. Was it Omar Epps?
Was it Omar Epps or was it that other guy?
Mackay Pfeiffer.
No, it was Omar Epps.
It was Omar Epps, the track star.
Yeah.
And so he runs and just and
that's a pretty good movie.
Michael, who plays this?
Michael Rappaport?
Michael Rappaport plays a confused white guy who hangs out with skinheads and winds up becoming one. And it's I love. I mean,
it's a good movie.
A lot of people thought it was just way too literal and cliche. I thought it was great. Pretty cool. I watched it a bunch of times.
How about Friday? F. Gary Gray.
F. Gary Gray.
Right.
Cube wrote that. With F. Gary Gray, or did he write it solo?
I think he wrote it solo.
The introduction of Chris Tucker for many people who didn't know him from Def Comedy Jam.
Yeah, Friday. And Debo. Right.
And Zeus.
Well, that's, Debo, right.
Yeah.
What was his real name?
Zeus
Sonny something?
No, Sonny Liston. That's
Sonny something like a. But yeah, that was a pretty funny movie, right? Chris Tucker, Ice Cube. It brought a lot of the language into film, I think, and it's just got memorable scenes, right? What is the guy's name?
Tommy Lister, but he was Zeus.
Oh
yeah. There were so many quotable lines from that movie, most of which we can't say. You had like the little person who was the preacher who was messing around with the girl from like across the street.
Yeah. That was such a silly movie.
But it's also interesting.
What's the
John Witherspoon was the dad.
Is that
Come on, Craig! Yeah. Be a man! Remember, they were saying, like, no,
that was so dumb.
Okay, give him the gun and, like, shoot the guys. And no, leave him alone. He's got to be a man. And, that movie almost ended differently. The original ending was that I believe that Ice Cube got his butt kicked and and I think he something really bad happened to him. But
really?
Yeah, Regina King was in that movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, very, very funny. And also because it actually takes place over the course of one day, which is like why I enjoyed Training Day. Also, it was one day in a 2-hour movie.
Yeah, I liked Friday. I thought it was a pretty good movie. It's a good part of. Do you like any of the Tyler Perry movies?
We knew this was going to come up. It's not that I don't identify with the Tyler Perry movies. Maybe I've just outgrown them, like, where it's like easy viewing, I mean, I think of Tyler, like the Medea movies especially, that's the kind of thing that you would probably see on like Disney Family at like Saturday afternoon at 2, like on cable or something like that. It's too cookie cutter, it's too vanilla for me.
Cool. I mean, I personally don't really care for the Tyler Perry.
He's a prolific filmmaker, though. I mean, just about the volume of his work. I mean, that guy's done a lot.
I mean, I couldn't even tell you what the best Medea movie is. I don't really know. Do you
even know how many Medea movies there are?
No, we don't. There's probably a crap load. How about Fruitvale Station? You ever watch Fruitvale Station? It's the true story of Oscar Grant, who's a young black man in San Francisco, right?
Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah, played by Michael B. Jordan. This is Michael B. Jordan's breakout role, I think.
And directed by a very talented up-and-coming black filmmaker.
Yeah, Ryan Coogler.
Who also went on to do Black Panther.
Yeah, as well as other movies, I think.
Featuring Michael B. Jordan.
But, yeah, so Oscar Grant gets onto Oscar Grant is not, like, a nice young black man. I mean, he is a young black man, but he's got his own personal problems and issues, or things that he deals with, right? And the security or the cops detain him at the BART station and at Fruitvale Station, and he's killed. He's killed there, like handcuffed behind his back. He's shot, right? Like knee on his back, handcuffed to the ground, a gun goes off and he dies there. And it's the story of that day, pretty much, like all the events leading up to that, and pretty much this guy's life. I don't know how much of Hollywood like touched that story or whatever, but it is a good movie.
I would say based on Ryan Coogler's 4, I mean, he's probably done like a lot more if I brought up his IMDb page right now, but based on his 4 movies, Fruitvale Station, Creed, yeah, Black Panther, and then Creed 2. Mm-hmm. He's probably a more in-demand director right now, and he can probably, dictate he chooses his own destiny at this point, probably more than other directors like Bryan Singer, maybe than
yeah. I mean, yeah, and I guess as long as he's getting work, Michael B. Jordan's getting work because he's been in every Ryan Coogler movie. So.
Of those 4, what would you say is his overall, like, is his best movie?
It's hard to say. I actually think Creed is pretty good. Creed 1 is, I think it's...
That also was nominated for Best Picture.
I think it's pretty good.
Like, for a young dude who's got 4 pictures under his belt.
It's hard to say. Black Panther or Creed 1, I guess. Creed 2, I don't think was as good as Creed 1, but it was interesting. And, like, we are talking about black directors here, and all the films have an African American in the leading role, and some of them are like typically about that culture, but that's not to say that these guys don't venture out and do other movies. Mm-hmm. There are a bunch of like other movies by black directors that are period pieces or whatnot and don't have like a black lead, mm-hmm. and then they're still very good.
Well, like Spike Lee, when he did Jungle Fever, he cast Wesley Snipes, obviously an African American, but opposite Marissa Tomei, and told the story of their kind of often contentious romance. Yeah, just being like a mixed or even mixed race couple.
Hunger, the movie where Michael Fassbender plays like that Irish. Like I mean, that's directed by a black director. So but just so happens the ones that we like the most happen to be the ones that are kind of about that type of stuff. So
okay, but now as far as black directors actually telling the story, and again, like really letting people know what the black experience in America is, kind of like the same way that Martin Scorsese would make like Goodfellas, because he has it literally is part of his DNA. He is Italian, so he can he has tacit knowledge of that experience. But one filmmaker I've always enjoyed was Keenan Ivory Wayans. Damon Wayans was, of course, like the most talented of the Wayans brothers, because Marlon and Sean, I mean, they had white girls, whatever.
Yeah, they had white girls in what's the Scary Movie?
Scary Movie. But Damon Wayans was the breakout star from In Living Color, which Keenan Ivory Wayans, produced, directed, wrote most of the part. Damon Wayans also did The Last Boy Scout, which was fantastic.
Yeah, but he directed it?
No, I think Keenan Ivory Wayans may have been involved in that, or that may have been Michael Mann. But I was gonna say Keenan Ivory Wayans did "I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker," which is kind of like it's a parody of the blaxploitation films of the '70s, and he cast almost his entire family. He's got Damon. Yeah. I don't even believe Marlon was that old.
Chris Rock in there.
Yeah. One rib. He's got Jim Brown in there. He's got I believe Richard Roundtree from Shaft is in there. But Keenan Ivory Wayans is a really talented filmmaker too. I mean,
I got one for you. 12 Years a Slave with Steve McQueen. He directed that one. That's a good movie. That's the first.
Wait, who?
12 Years a
Steve McQueen?
Right? Yeah, that's his name. Steve McQueen.
Steve McQueen.
Yeah.
The guy's name is actually Steve McQueen?
I guess, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Look it up. Unless it's like Sean McQueen and I'm just grossly like... I know, I was freaking out too. I was like, what? Steve McQueen? Real? But yeah, 12 Years a Slave. He's the first black director to win an Oscar for Best Film.
Very nice.
Right? And that had a great...
Yeah.
Cast. Lupita Nyong'o, she won an Oscar, right, for that? Yep. Right, and then the guy's name we can't say, Chiwetel Ejiofor or whatever.
Yeah,
the guy from Four Brothers.
Another
one of our favorite movies. So I really like that, and that's a true story of Solomon Northup, right, and his years of slavery. And Michael Fassbender.
You tell him my name. From Four Brothers.
Oh, yeah, that's corny.
Eat. Dogs gotta eat, right? that
was a good scene.
No, you know what? When he won the Academy Award for 12 Years a Slave, you and I both applauded and were like, okay, that guy's good. He's powerful performance. You know who's another director like Reginald Hudlin, who again, I'm gonna go to comedy, but he directed the House Party movies. House Party, so funny. I never felt that because, I didn't grow up in a certain part of the country, or I didn't grow up in a certain, ethnic group, that I didn't identify with House Party. It was unbelievably funny. Kid and Play, Tisha Campbell, Martin Lawrence, who was kind of a relative unknown at that point. Again, John Witherspoon is the dad. I watched House Party because we got it on video. After I graduated from high school, that entire summer, we would watch House Party like 2-3 times a day. I kid you not.
I don't know why. I mean, like, House Party hilarious. Was good, but like, you can watch it 3 times in a day.
And it's quotable.
Multiple days? Jeez. It's not that good. I mean, it's all right. It's pretty funny, I guess. It is funny, I mean, it's funny.
I think George Clinton is in there from Parliament Funkadelic. He's got a cameo, but... Yeah, but the Hudlin brothers actually were incredibly talented.
Any other movies?
Okay, how about Spike Lee though? Not just any particular one film he did, but Spike's done an amazing amount of work. He finally got his credit because he won for best screenplay this year.
What? Oh, well, I mean, I like Do the Right Thing. That's a Spike Lee movie, right?
Yeah, Do the Right Thing. My favorite Spike Lee movie is Malcolm X. I don't like all of Spike's movies. A lot of people do not. But Malcolm X was a triumph, I thought. I learned a lot. And, I had not at that point read the autobiography of Malcolm X yet.
You know what I like that it's not on a lot of lists? He Got Game. He did, right? He did. Yeah, I liked He Got Game. That's my favorite Spike Lee movie. But
are you okay? Maybe breaking news / spoiler coming out. Did you know that He Got Game 2 has been greenlit?
No,
exact same cast.
What? No.
Yeah.
Ray Allen and Denzel Washington.
Ray Allen as
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
Jesus Shuttlesworth.
No, but
what a name!
Well, wow, that's interesting.
And Denzel actually said, he goes, they're using the same cast, and they're trying to. I mean, they just don't want to do it just to appease fanboys like us.
I don't know why they're doing it, because I don't even know how they're gonna.
Apparently, at that point, Ray Allen's Jesus Shuttlesworth's his character's basketball career would have been over by now if he played professionally, and then Denzel finally gets out of jail. And then they have to do, rekindle the father-son relationship, and but remember the final scene when they play one-on-one, and Ray Allen is, Ray Allen is clearly the better player, because he's younger, he plays every day. But what a scene!
That was a good movie.
Yeah,
I really like how Spike Lee in a lot of the movies, he really brings the environment, how the setting of New York is. It seems like he really knows how to capture that kind of scene well. Even his other one, 25th Hour. Is it?
Yeah.
They're all pretty good. So.
It's like a sensory thing. It's like, wow, I really feel like I'm in Harlem.
Yeah, I like it. It's cool. It's cool.
Did you like Malcolm X? A long movie. I remember at Blockbuster, it was one of those ones.
I don't remember. I remember watching it. I just don't remember being focused when I watched it, so I can't really say that it was good or bad. But I'm sure.
I would rent it often, and I would always take the first tape and just leave it in the box. I would always watch tape number 2, because that's when Malcolm's, I believe his name was Malcolm. I forget what his real last name. I apologize, but that's when he embraces Islam in prison and becomes Malcolm X, and begins to serve the Church of Islam.
All right, cool. Yeah. All right, let's one film. What is one film that you would recommend people at home to go see that you think is a good example of a good film by a black director? Maybe something we haven't named. Well, I guess Get Out is also good. It's done by Jordan Peele, right? So,
did you watch Love and Basketball?
I watched Love and Basketball. That was on my list, man. I was going to say Love and Basketball.
Gina Prince.
Yeah.
Blythewood.
Yeah, Blythewood. Yeah.
By a female director.
And I liked Love and Basketball. Who's the girl in Love and Basketball? Is that the true story of somebody? That is a true story of somebody who went to the WNBA and then the husband.
I don't know if it's a true story.
Is it not a true story?
It'd be great if it was.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe I just made that up.
Okay, so you're asking one. Okay, this isn't the best example. It's a tremendous movie. It's a gifted director who's more known for his acting chops, but Forrest Whitaker, when he directed Waiting to Exhale.
Okay, cool. Yeah. That's a good one. I'll take that one.
Granted, based off of a book. So you had the source material was really, really strong. Wait, who also did... Why can I not remember? Bad Jason. Why can I not remember the movie with Tupac and Janet Jackson and Regina King?
Poetic Justice.
No. Thank you. Oh my God. Based off of the poetry of Maya Angelou, that was tremendous. But Waiting to Exhale was so good on so many levels. It showed the strength of 4 black women going through heartache, going through emotional trauma, overcoming that, being victorious at the end. It was funny in parts. It was romantic. It was sad. It was really good storytelling. It was 4 movies in one.
Man, I had one in my head that I was going to bring up, but I just totally forgot what it was. And because I forgot what it was, I'm just going to have to recommend another one, go off of my security list of movies that I like. And this one may or may not be for everyone's palette, but I'm going to go with Belly, which features Who directed that movie? Hype Williams, right? So.
Oh wait, is that the one with DMX?
Yeah, DMX and Nas. With DMX and Nas, right? The two young black men who.
DMX is not a bad actor.
DMX is not a bad actor. Nas, on the other hand, is a horrible actor.
He's a hell of a lyricist, though.
Yeah, you know.
You cannot take anything.
You can't have everything, right? You can't. They don't give you everything, right? So, but I like that movie, Belly. You should check that one. It's got a crazy soundtrack at the very least. It's
okay. What's DMX's best movie?
Belly is his best movie. I mean, it's better than what's that movie? With
Exit Wounds? Yeah. With Seagal?
Come on.
He was good in that one.
Come on, man. Yeah, I guess. Oh, Romeo Must Die. Was he in Romeo Must Die?
Oh, I believe. Ew.
He was in Romeo Must Die, right? He's the main guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Romeo Must Die.
Okay.
What am I kidding?
Sorry, to your point about, like, you know, often black directors don't necessarily always cast fellow African Americans in the role. My final film would be a movie that I love, 2003. Not everybody digs it as much as I do, but a lot of people like it because I like military movies. Antoine Fuqua's first big movie, Tears of the Sun. And the lead role was Bruce Willis, about Navy SEALs who have to go into Africa and then, you know, rescue and exfiltrate with a American physician, and then they get stuck.
Monica Bellucci.
Yeah, that's right.
Monica Bellucci in her heyday. Oh, man. She was...
Okay, she did that, and she did The Matrix, and
she did, like, tons of French movies.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, so she's, like, actually pretty famous. Like,
okay.
Holy cow.
Clearly, she's off my radar.
She only did, like, The Matrix and that? Come on, man. Oh, dude.
No, she's beautiful. She is beautiful. But showing how Navy SEALs, who, by the nature of their work, can't make moral judgments and aren't paid to question and aren't paid to, you know, decide what's right.
I didn't really think... You know, a lot of people show a lot of praise for Tears of the Sun, but I didn't think that movie was that good. Like, yeah, it's Cole Hauser, right? Right, yeah. That's his name. And who else is in that movie?
Eamon Walker, the guy from Chicago Fire.
Yeah. I mean, it was a pretty dope movie. It wasn't... I don't know. It wasn't like the best action movie, and it wasn't much more of anything else to me. Like a triple frontier level of good.
I thought that the battle scenes in Tears of the Sun at that point in time were the best military fight scenes since Black Hawk Down.
What? Really? Wow.
Those battle scenes in the jungle are crazy. And it really it shows you that Navy SEAls aren't just, you know, okay, let's spray left to right and let's strafe all over the countryside and just fill the entire jungle up with, like, hot lead, and we'll waste everybody. I mean, they have tactics, they have specific training. You know, these guys are professional.
That's interesting. That is a cool movie, but it's just not like...
And it shows their humanity, because they were like, okay, well, we realize that we've been trained not to think and not to care. And then they were like, okay, we can't just leave these people, you know? We had to trick them into getting Monica Bellucci to come with us so we can rescue her, but they're flying over and they're getting ready to leave, and they see the ethnic cleansing that's happened in that part of Africa, and they were like, turn it around, man. We're leaving these people to die. And even Bruce Willis's SEALs under his command, and they were like, what are you doing? You know, this isn't what we do.
Yeah, but they did it. That was pretty cool, I guess.
Okay, but clearly you do not agree with the battle scenes being the best since Black Hawk Down.
I don't. No, definitely do not. I'm surprised to even hear you say it was a cool movie. It was not even a bad movie, but I just don't think it's, like, worthy of critical acclaim.
Okay, so we don't agree on that battle scene. Going back to, like, minute 5 in this podcast, obviously we don't agree on Kevin Bacon's best movie, which...
No, obviously, we do not agree. Hollow Man is not Kevin Bacon's best movie, guys.
Hollow Man is glorious, though.
It is a cool movie, yeah. It's cool.
Glorious. Just say it. You've said it before in private. Tell the people what I already
glorious, know. Man. I mean, we'll do a podcast on Kevin Bacon movies, and we'll talk about it. But remember, guys, if you want to win tickets to Avengers Endgame... you can win them by playing the 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon game with us. Just DM us your answer. And the person that you are trying to find a connection with is Lupita Nyong'o. So connect Lupita Nyong'o to Kevin Bacon in 6 steps or less. And just DM us. We'll pick winners, and we'll announce them on our next episode of the podcast. Till next time, happy movie.